Hi, I'm Mistia, and welcome to Element 1, Foundations in Health and Safety. Let's now look at the scope and nature of occupational health and safety. Health and safety involves removing or minimizing the causes of accidents and other events in the workplace which may have adverse effects on workers. It means investigating a range of issues as well as understanding why people behave the way they do. The study of health and safety involves many different subjects, including the sciences, engineering, psychology, sociology, and the law. The rapid development of technology combined with the increased economic pressures on businesses has led to fatigue and stress becoming major health and safety issues. There is also a danger of large multinational employers taking advantage of less evolved legislation in developing countries to expose workers there to risk that would not be tolerated in more developed nations. Although risks to health and safety are now better monitored, it is not always easy to identify the relationship between cause and effect. Let's now take a look at some of the barriers to good health and safety standards.
Barriers to good health and safety standards. Complexity. Workplaces can be complicated. Many people are involved in many different work activities that need coordination. The complexity of achieving a balance of profitability, safety, quality, service, and production is faced daily by organizations. It therefore requires the commitment and competence of both management and workers and an established management framework to implement policies for health and safety to achieve a reasonable balance. Conflicting demands. There are often competing and conflicting demands placed upon people and organizations. A common conflict of interest is that between the need to supply a product or a service at an appropriate speed so as to make a profit and the need to do so safely and without risk to people's health. Another conflict can be created by the need to comply with different types of standards at the same time, for example, health and safety law as well as environmental protection law. Behavioral issues. Improper conduct or behavior by individuals puts safety and health at risk. For example, management undermining the safety and health culture through negative behavior, not leading by example. Employees not following procedures and engaging in unsafe work practices. Good standards of health and safety practice often relies on the perfect behavior of individuals, and as we are all too aware, people do not always behave in this ideal way.
Let's take a look at the definitions of three of the key words that are used in health and safety. Health. Health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease, injury, or infirmity. Safety. Safety refers to the absence of risk of serious personal injury or a state where the risk of harm has been eliminated or reduced to an acceptable level. Welfare. Employers are required to provide adequate arrangements for the welfare at work for their employees. Welfare facilities are those that are necessary for the well-being of employees, such as toilets, hand wash stations, rest and changing facilities, hygienic conditions to prepare and consume food, access to drinking water, and first aid provision. Besides these three main keywords, there are other keywords too, for which you can refer to the student course material and the LMS. In general, there are three main drivers for managing health and safety: moral, social, and economic. Society exerts pressure through these three overlapping and interacting spheres of influence, and hence, these are the three main reasons why an organization has to manage health and safety. Let's take a closer look at this.
Moral, social, and economic reasons for health and safety. Moral expectations. Morals are the codes of conduct or rules of behavior imposed by a society regarding what is right and what is wrong. Social and legal expectations. The management of occupational health and safety risks can be influenced by a number of social factors, such as the economic climate, globalization of business, an increasingly migrant workforce, and in the developed world, the expectation that corporations will act in a socially responsible way. The legal responsibility for health and safety at work rests primarily on the employer. The employer has a duty to provide the following: safe place of work, safe plant and equipment, safe system of work, training, supervision, and competency of staff. Economic expectations. Accident and ill health cost money.
When an accident occurs, there will be direct and indirect costs associated with the event. Direct costs are measurable costs arising directly from an accident or incident. Direct costs usually include workers' compensation payments, medical expenses, costs for legal services, and so on. Indirect costs are costs arising as a consequence of an accident or incident. Examples of indirect costs include training replacement employees, accident investigation and implementation of corrective measures, lost productivity, repairs of damaged equipment and property, and costs associated with lower employee morale and absenteeism. It is often assumed that most accident and incident costs are recoverable through insurance. This is a dangerous misconception. Insurance policies do not cover everything. It has been estimated that uninsured losses are between 8 and 36 times greater than insured losses. Uninsured costs can include lost time, sick pay, damage or loss of product and raw materials, repairs to plant and equipment, extra wages, overtime working, and temporary labor, production delays, investigation time, fines, loss of contracts, legal cost. Accident and ill health cost can be likened to an iceberg. Costs that are recoverable are visible, but those that are unrecoverable are hidden below the waterline and are many times greater. All countries have a common aim to protect people at work. Most of the responsibility falls on employers as they provide the work, tools, and systems, although workers have duties too. However, every country has a number of agencies that investigate and enforce laws or provide advice. The United Nations has led the way in uploading international standards in health and safety, particularly through the International Labor Organization. Let's take a detailed look at how this works.
The ILO aims to bring together governments, employers, and workers to set labor standards, develop policies, and devise programs. These international labor standards are issued in the form of conventions, which are legally binding, international treaties that may be ratified by member states, and recommendations, which are a non-binding guidelines. C155, Occupational Safety and Health Convention, and R164, Occupational Safety and Health Recommendation, are good examples of conventions and recommendations. To provide workplaces and work equipment, and use work methods which are safe and no risk to health. To provide appropriate instructions and training. To provide necessary supervision. To put in place health and safety arrangements adapted to suit the size and nature of the undertaking. To provide any necessary personal protective clothing and equipment free of charge. To ensure that the hours of work do not adversely affect employees' safety and health. Also, to remove any physical and mental fatigue. To stay up to date with knowledge in order to comply with the above. Now, R164 also says that workers should take reasonable care of their own safety and that of other people who might be affected by the things that they do and the things that they fail to do. Comply with safety instructions and procedures. Use all safety equipment properly and not tamper with it. Report any situation which they believe could be a hazard and which they cannot themselves correct. Report any work-related accident or ill health. In addition to the basic right to a safe workplace, Article 19 of C155 gives workers the following rights. The right to be provided with adequate information on actions the employer has taken to ensure occupational safety and health. the right to the necessary training in occupational safety and health, the right to be consulted by the employer on all matters of occupational safety and health relating to their work, the right to leave a workplace which he has reason to think presents an imminent and serious danger to his life or health, and not be compelled to return until it is safe.
There are many sources of information available to support hazard identification and risk management in the workplace. Broadly, these can be categorized based on whether the information is available internally or externally. Internal sources of information are restricted to the range of experiences within the organization. External sources of information are sourced outside of the organization. Internal and external sources are generally complementary and used together.